Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on MisplacedStraws.com, where music comes to life. And my guest today is the driving force behind the only prog festival here in the Northeast, and it's really one of the fastest growing festivals in the genre. ProgStock will be held on October 9th through the 12th in Rutherford, New Jersey, and here to talk about it, please welcome Tom Palmieri. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks, Jeff. Great to see you. Thanks for
You
having
as
me.
well. And we'll get into the history of the festival in a minute, but let's start with this year because it is pretty special. What's the lineup looking like this year, and who are your headliners?
Great. So we'll start right with the meat. That's good. We've got a real we curate these lineups usually many months, if not years in advance. And some of these occurrences that are coming this year are things that we talked about with artists, not just even in the lead up to last year and a little bit after last year's event, but also that have been on our list for like a few years, figuring out when to slot them in, when it might work, because it takes a lot of advanced planning on both our sides and theirs, of course, depending upon what their lives bring them. So we're really, really proud of this year. We've been proud of every year. I don't want to. Every
Yeah.
time I'm asked to pick a something right out of a list, like a favorite or what, I don't want to slight anybody else, so I never go there. But we're proud of how this one came together. So our headliners this year, we'll start with a band from England that has actually been here a couple of times, and they're coming back this year from Birmingham. They're a band called IO Earth. And they're great friends of ours too, which is really great. It's always good to work in the music industry with people
Yes.
who you get on well with too. And these guys have been a perennial favorite on Cruise to the Edge. They have been on every Cruise to the Edge but one. And it's tough to get a seat whenever you're trying to see them on their home turf or on the floating festival ship. So they're coming mostly under the kind of the auspices of this idea of a phoenix rising from the ashes, because Io Earth had suffered about a little under a year ago. They suffered a horrendous fire, which destroyed their studio and everything they own, burned it to the ground. All they saw were ashes and burned pieces of paper, and it was atrocious. And we spent the whole year helping fundraise for them, and they're here to play what will, in essence, be their first real gig back on a stage. And they're going to bring a full orchestra section effectively. So they're going to have strings and horns as they do this, which is a show they normally only do in their home theater in Birmingham. So we're really, really proud to have our good friends come back for that. Our second headliner is a band that has also been with us a couple of times, but they have a new album, it seems, every 20 minutes. They're so prolific, and that's the wonderful Pattern Seeking Animals, who will be our Saturday headliner. And of course, that band is at least the beat is laid down by one of our best friends in the world, Jimmy Keegan, one of the best drummers on the planet Earth. So he's also a co-host of the festival. So he's all in with us, and we're all in with him. And then our last headliner, we're extremely proud to have. This gentleman came last year to the festival in order to kind of let people know that he's coming this year and prove it to people by actually setting foot in the United States, but also to try and give the crowd an idea of what he might do. And that is Mr. Steve Hogarth, the lead singer of Marillion, whom you probably know extremely well.
A little bit, little
Yeah, a
bit.
little bit. So he came last year to do some Q&A work with us. This year he'll be performing for the first time on U.S. soil, his H Natural project. It's Steve, or H as he's commonly known, a microphone, a really nice piano, and a stage.
Mhm.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Sounds amazing. Now, kind of going through that a little bit, you mentioned Pattern Seeking Animals. It's 6 records in 5 years. John and Dave have both been on this site many times, but live, they're a little bit different as John Beghold doesn't play with them. So, do you have a sense of what the live lineup is going to be for Pattern Seeking Animals?
I do. In fact, it's on our website, and we one of the things that perhaps it's not apparent, but I am extremely afflicted with the OCD. So so we as in I and my wife as well, Ann, we take great pains to make sure that we provide a whole lot of information and detail.
Mm,
And we spend so much time curating and nurturing our website where anyone can go at progstock.com to see everything that we have at that moment.
mm,
The minute we have something, I'm running to the website to update it or correct it or whatever. And the lineup is going to be really, really cool for pattern seeking animals this year. I mean, it's obviously the people you expect to be in the band, like Jimmy Keegan and
mm,
Dave Maros, who you've mentioned, and Ted Leonard fronting the band with his extremely amazing voice and
yeah.
guitar playing. But on keyboards, normally they would have they used to have Dennis Atlas playing with them
Mm,
on when they played live. But Dennis is a little busy with another really, really, really big band. I don't know how many reallys you could fit in there, but um, he's now the keyboard player and backup vocalist for Toto. So uh,
mm,
that's really a really good gig, and we're really proud of him. He's been with us before,
yeah.
and he's really great. But the keyboard player that Jimmy has roped into this is a friend of so many people and of ours. In fact, we expect him to come back next year with a few of the other bands that he's in, and that's Mr. Bill Hubauer of the Neil Morse
Really?
Band and many other
Mm,
things. Yes. So, and now have Cracked the Sky. So,
yeah.
he's really getting around too. So we'll see him. It's great to see Bill every time he comes around. So, and John is coming to the festival.
Yeah.
Yes, he doesn't perform live with them. You're absolutely correct, but he is coming. In fact, he got on the phone with me and Jimmy and said, "All right, let's do it. Like, I'm
Mm.
coming with. We're gonna make this a real thing." So he'll be in the house. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's great. Yeah, Bill's also been on this site a time or two.
Sure,
It and as you mentioned, if you're paying any attention at all to the name of this site, I'm a little bit of a Marillion fan.
just a
Uh,
bit, a little
yeah.
bit.
So it's funny because what you can't see on camera is just off to the wall on that side. I have my whole Marillion wall that's just filled with signed everything from them.
Right.
But I've talked with Steve Hogarth before. Really great guy. As you mentioned, he's never done a solo show here in the US. How did it come about? I mean, I know there's been a couple years in the making for you, but how did you talk him into it?
So, um, first of all, I'll say unequivocally that most of the talking intos, I mean, I do a few of them,
Yeah.
but most of the talking intos is the superpower of my amazing wife, Anne Rinaldi, who is my co-conspirator here
Mhm.
at ProgStock. And we've met with and seen Steve many times on multiple cruises to the edge and things of that nature. We had not yet made it to a Meridian weekend. We almost made it to one this year, but it was a little bit too close to my recovery time from my recent surgery, and timing just didn't work
Yeah.
for me to take the long trip up to Canada, which is where we would have done it. But we when we last met with him on Cruise to the Edge a couple years ago, we sat down finally had a good conversation, all three of us.
Mhm.
And then I pretty much left it in my wife's hands, who tends to make everything cross the goal line. So it was agreed to that effectively he would be playing, you know, later, this year, and
Yeah.
also coming for the Q&As last year, all on a Cruise to the Edge conversation for a good 20 minutes. It also helps that we have some common friends.
Mhm.
We're very much in partnership with an organization you might know called the Bandwagon USA, which is run by Rita K. Drew and Sven Henriksen, both of whom are staples. They're regulars
Mhm.
at just about every large Marillion event going on around the world. And of course, whenever Steve comes here, and he's been here a couple times now, Rita is always the person who helps him out locally. So the fact that she is heavily involved with what we do also made H feel a lot more comfortable
Mhm.
about working with us, I'm sure. So it was just a frank conversation to try and work something out and offer him the opportunity, and also tell him we'd be extremely honored to have him. So
Mhm.
I think it's really great. And I will say this too. I don't want to cross any lines or make anyone upset, but I will say, no matter what side of anything you're on, we can all agree that things feel a little bit weird these days
Yeah.
in our country. How whether you agree with the weirdness or
Mhm.
you're angered by the weirdness. Um, Regardless, it makes people who aren't in this country feel a little bit worried, a little bit leery.
Yeah.
And I will say that we are extremely grateful that H is, staying on course and going to be with us. So thank you, Steve, if you're out there listening.
So that's a bit of what's going on this year, but let's kind of wind back a little
Sure.
bit. The first ProgStock was 2017. Now, what drove you to not only put together a progressive rock festival, but to do it in New Jersey, which is known for, Springsteen, Bon Jovi, Skid Row, bar band rock? How did it all come about?
I have three words for you: unmitigated, unmedicated insanity.
Sums it up.
Yeah. Um, so it's a great question. And I've answered questions like this before, and it all centers to me around, well, first of all, New Jersey is my home state.
Mm,
Um, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going anywhere, right? My roots are here. I'm staying here until, I don't know, they put me in a wheelbarrow and cart me off. Um, and also, New Jersey, I'm smack dab between two extremely highly populated centers, the Philadelphia area and the New York City area. And whenever you talk about progressive rock in the United States, if the city and the area of Philadelphia doesn't come to mind, there's something wrong with your understanding of progressive rock history in the US. Fair to say?
mm.
Um,
Yep.
and yeah, and a lot of events have taken place in Pennsylvania, and I just wanted to do it here in New Jersey, where I
Mm,
live, and where I grew up and found my love
mm.
for progressive rock when I first heard 90125.
Yeah.
So, you know, um, and that was the beginning of going forward in the world and backward
Yeah.
into catalogs that I'm still working really hard to meet as many of my musical heroes as I can and hopefully work with.
You and me both.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so. In fact, it reminds me real quick, a quick aside for just a few
Yeah.
seconds of a conversation I had with someone who has become a good friend as well, um, over a couple glasses of wine when he asked me, "Why the hell are you doing this?" And that was Eddie Jobson.
Mm.
And I'm like, I looked at him, I said, "What do you mean, why the hell am I doing this? I'm sitting here with you." Seriously.
Yeah.
So to answer your original question, so, you know, I I'd always been a fan, obviously, from I dated myself by saying
Mm,
90125. So you're talking about the 80s. Also a fan of 80s rock and yacht rock and
mm,
all the stuff, lots of crossover, lots of stuff, but that's where my love of progressive rock really started. And um, you know, went to only a handful of shows. I did get to see Yes for the first
yeah.
time during the Union tour, so that was great. That's also dating me, so that's early '90s, right? Um, so basically, um, what it comes down to is I really didn't get out there in the world until kind of in the, well, late 2010s.
Mm,
It's kind of weird because I didn't have a lot of time for going to
mm,
concerts and really getting into the scene, but I really started to love doing so roughly around 2012, 2013. And in 2013, I learned about this amazing event that had been going on for years, not far away from me
mm.
in the Lehigh Valley, originally in Pennsylvania. And that was Nearfest.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and unfortunately, I also learned at the same time that its last ever performance was in 2012, and I had already missed it.
Mm,
So that was my kind of thinking about, well, what else is there? And then I found other events. I found Rossfest,
mm,
which was a great storied festival that was going on in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania at the time. And I went to that as often as I could in the mid 20 teens, and then found some others, but that was my real outlet close to
mm,
home. And then learned about another um, organization here in New Jersey called the New Jersey Prog House, who's been doing local shows at small venues
mm,
for 20 plus years now. Um, and I started getting out there. And then I just looked at it and realized, I've got a lot of my own, I think, understanding of how to run a business because I've been
mm,
in the startup world in the computer space for quite a long time. And I figured, well, this is a great opportunity to maybe put my loves together, the
mm,
things I love to do together. And so on a whim, I threw a party in the summer of 2016 and I invited a bunch of friends. Typical party. You
yeah.
invite 80, 90 people. What do you
Mm,
expect?
mm.
20, 25. You know how it goes, right?
Yeah.
I invited like 90 people and almost 70 showed up. And I had this party outside at a park near my house at the time. One of those parks with the pavilion
Yeah, like a
overhangs,
band shell. Yep.
aluminum roof, right? Like kind of not really a band shell, but
Yeah.
like one of those picnic tables under a
Mm,
big, huge
mm,
roof. Put together an impromptu stage, and had a party. It was, warm out until it rained, and it rained
mm,
cats and dogs.
mm.
And it rained so loud, the aluminum roof was louder than anything else, right? We actually have a recording of our good friends Echo Test, which is Julie
Mm,
Slick's band,
mm,
playing with that tin roof.
mm,
It's pretty interesting to hear that. It's surreal. But we had that party and had about 4 or 5 bands. And while I was on stage announcing the last band and the rain was getting harder and harder, we kept moving the electronics
mm,
further in away from the water. Um, I was talking about how this was a party that I really was really happy that friends had come to, and we were thinking about making this a regular thing. Um, and I mentioned that, of course, I hope the next time we do this, it's not raining cats and dogs and sheep, but a few other livestock out there. Um, the bathroom's right over there. It's not exactly like, going to Woodstock
mm.
99 where there's mud pits everywhere and
Yeah.
we're not charging you $10 for a bottle of water. Um, and then someone from the crowd literally said, "Yeah, this is kind of like Woodstock." I said, "Yeah, it's sort of, but it's more like Prague stock." And there it was, right?
Mm,
And so from then on, a couple of months later, friends of mine who came to the party and I came together and decided, why don't we take this indoors, first of all,
mm,
because we don't want the weather. And secondly, why don't we give it a go? Because there's nothing like this going on in our area anymore
mm.
in the fall. We
Yeah.
specifically picked the fall. There's plenty that go on in the spring. Rossfest is in the spring or was in the spring. The cruises
Mm,
eventually became happening. Well,
mm,
they were going on for a few years by then in the spring. And so we decided to do it in the fall. And so it kind of came together as an idea in late 2016. Now, late 2016 is not a great time to start
mm.
planning a brand new event from the ground up. It's going to happen in October of
Yeah.
2017, but we figured out somehow how to make it happen.
Mm,
Great volunteer team, most of whom are still with us, and I really appreciate them for that.
mm. That's great. And now for the one
Yeah.
coming up in October of this year, the 9th through the 12th, are there tickets still available? Can people just go
Mhm.
on to the ProgStock website to get tickets and all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always tell everyone your first stop is progstock.com. I'm
Mm,
wearing it on my shirt, so you know how to
mhm.
spell it.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the website that always shows the current year, and all the information about it. It's basically a blog, so you'll see our latest announcements,
Mm,
our latest newsletter right up there, any other news that we provide. And you'll also see navigation to get you to a page for each of the artists, a page with the schedule for each day. Every other activity that's going on is documented. All of the musicians, the artists and performers, all of the fine artists and other
mhm.
um, attractions, if you will, that will be available at the festival are there because it's more than just music. It's
Yep.
basically a prog rock convention. So lots of other things to do and see and be entertained by and involved with. And then there's a one of those navigations for tickets, which takes you to a full explanation of how to buy the various passes or tickets to the festival,
Mm,
and a link everywhere to get to our ticketing site, so you can actually pick the seat you want from your seat map and join us. As you say, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 9th through 12th. The festival itself is the 3 day weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we sell passes for all 3 days,
mhm.
both combined as a 3 day pass and individually on a daily basis. You can get any of those at our website and our ticket website right now. We also have other tickets for other parts of it. So there's the Thursday night, October 9th event we think of as a pre-festival party,
Mhm.
if you will. It's an event that we open to the public for a relatively small ticket fee to join us, but largely it's a party we throw for our volunteer crew and everyone else to just finally have one big, good, fun time together before the nose hits the grindstone the very next morning. And then there are also when we have them, tickets for our special events that we open to the public.
Mhm.
There will be one again this Sunday, or that Sunday, in the morning. So we could talk about that soon when we get to what our special events will be. But there will be one more ticket made available for people very, very inexpensively. So you can go there. If for those who want to know the exact URL of the ticket site, it's progstock.simpletix.com. That's SIMPLETIX.com. Um, and if you're able to show these, I can give you some QR codes later if you want to show them.
Yeah, and I'll definitely have the links there. So anybody watching this, if you're on the main misplacedstraws.com site, all of these links that we talk about will be there. So you can get your tickets and see the events upcoming. And you mentioned some special events. Anything you can talk about with those?
Actually, I can give you the full suite of them. Your
Yeah.
timing is very good. Literally, the last one got accepted and agreed to this morning. So we're in good shape here. A bit of a scoop, if you will. We have three special events that are basically limited seating.
Yeah.
So one on Friday to start the whole festival in the early afternoon, and then one on each of Saturday and Sunday in the morning at 10 a.m. And they are the same event, but the one on Saturday, just like our one on Friday, is meant for our VIPs, if you will,
Yeah.
the people who have bought passes to our festival as what we call ProgDucers, which is our upper level 3-day pass, which gives a bunch of perks
Yeah.
that are all explained on the website. Um, or our even bigger supporters, the people who are known as our 5-year patrons. These are people who have purchased a rather hefty pass to the festival, but it secures their seat in the theater for 5 straight years.
Mhm.
So they never have to go fight to go buy
Yeah.
a ticket in each of those years, and they get a lot of other perks and handouts and give outs from us as well as access to special events that we do not only at the festival but actually all year long
Mhm.
under the ProgStock Presents label. So the Friday and Saturday events are for those people, and the Sunday event will be a repeat of Saturday morning's event, but we'll shortly make tickets available for the public, the
Mhm.
general public, to come. As long as they are coming to the festival and they purchase this small extra ticket, they can attend that one
Mhm.
as well. Our special events are limited seating, so it's only roughly about 100
Yeah.
seats or tickets available, so we will control that. Um, and By the way, the Producer tickets, you said earlier, you asked if the tickets were still available. Of course they are.
Mhm.
3-day passes,
Yeah.
single day passes, but our Producer level has officially sold out. About
Mhm.
1 week ago, we sold out of effectively our VIP class tickets. So we're really grateful to people who climbed on early. It's the earliest we've ever sold out of that class of tickets. So it's really, really great. Um, the special events themselves. So Friday, to start off the festival on Friday at 1 o'clock, will be an intimate, private acoustic performance by our friends from Germany, Melanie Mao and Martin Schnelle. And in the setting we're going to have it in the small performance theater that's a part of the Williams Center, people will have a great experience with them because there's no bad seat in the house. You're very close and intimate, and it may even have a lot of interaction and a lot of maybe even by request type playing going on. And those who've seen Melanie and Martin play, their own music is incredible. Their cover work
Mhm.
is second to none. So it's going to be a real fun time. And on Saturday and Sunday at 10 a.m. for approximately 1 hour each morning. Um, our good friend, someone who I'm proud to say I I have taken out to a show, and it was great in the New York area. It wasn't hard because he lives in New York. So, but this is a gentleman who we've known for quite a while, who was the front man for a band that's very special to me, one of my favorite progressive rock bands, and that is Gentle Giant. That gentleman is Derek Schulman, who will be with us both Saturday and Sunday morning to talk about his new book, which will be coming out, being released on October 7th. So the timing is perfect.
Mhm.
And he'll be able to provide copies of the book. We'll have a nice intimate Q&A. We're figuring out who his interviewer will be soon. Sit and talk to people. And he will likely be around for most of the weekend. So people will be able to interact with him as well.
That's fantastic. It sounds like an amazing event. Again, we've been spending some time here with Tim Palmieri. The event is ProgStock, October 9th through the 12th in Rutherford, New Jersey. I will have links on this story about how you can get your tickets and see what's going on. And oh, excuse me, did I say Tim? Tom Palmieri. My apologies.
It's
Just
okay.
realized I said that. Anyway, Tom, thank you so much. People that are checking out the website, the Misplaced Straws site. We'll have links to everything for ProgStock on this story so people can get their tickets and find out who's playing. You guys do an amazing job every year, and this sounds like one of the best. So thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you.
some time to talk about it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks.